Discrimination of African Americans dates back centuries ago where slavery occurred. African Americans were bought and sold by white conservatives and were put to work on their farms and plantations with barely any supply of necessities.
Slavery was very common during the 1860s. It led to many rebels, like the Underground Railroad, where many retired slaves and even white people helped the slaves escape using an underground railroad. Slavery was arised by President Lincoln and his will to abolish slavery, given in his Gettysburg speech.
Terrorist groups were created to target African Americans and severely harm them and maybe even create death upon these people. This group was called the KKK. Racism, segregation, and harm towards African Americans continued to occur for years.
In the 1960s, Martin Luther King made segregation and racism a known issue and spread awareness of it across the country. MLK held conferences, meetings, spoke out, and created marches. He talked with peace. Slowly, his following began to grow, and things got worse before they got better.
Violence began to occur more frequently as white people began to try and take charge, and cops were even beginning to arrest any African American they saw in a whites only territory. Eventually, Martin Luther King spoke his infamous I Have a Dream speech at the Capitol that changed the country and the attitude of racism forever.
Gradually, racism grew away. Opportunities were given, and everyone came together as one. The question is, did it really ever go away?
Recently, over the past year, there has been tons of controversy involving the police and brutality or force used against the people, specifically those of color. So, is police brutality an issue today? Are the people targeting individuals based on the color of their skin? Should the police be punished or defunded due to their actions, or are they acting out of defense?
Policing and police brutality is a relevant topic in today's world. Most recently, an issue occurred by a black man and a police officer. Derek Chauvin was on duty at the time and had arrested a man, George Floyd. During the arrest, things had gotten out of hand, and Floyd did not want to get into the car because he believed it would make him sick. Derek Chauvin had then put him on the ground, and with all of his force, stuck his knee into Floyd's neck.
Floyd pleaded for his life that he could not breathe, and Chauvin still did not take the knee off of his neck. When he finally released his knee from Floyd's neck, he was already unconscious. When the world finally got a hold of the video footage of the altercation, the world was outraged. It started riots across the country, with damage to cities and even harm to other people. It was almost like having flashbacks from years ago. People are chanting, I can't breathe, and Black Lives Matter from the streets across the country. Organizations were created, and industries, including professional sports, were making it aware of the situation that had occurred. Many have stated that it has been happening for too long, and this was the final straw.
People started making efforts to try and defund the police, saying that they are there to make everyone safe, not just who they choose. Defending the police is much more difficult than starting riots to enforce it.
Laws from the justice system state that the police is allowed to act in defense if they feel they are threatened or at risk of harm at any time of confrontation with the fugitive. What people question is, were they really at risk?
This was happening while President Trump was still in office, and around when he was trying to become re-elected. This caused a lot of controversy throughout the re-election. Trump was claimed to be a racist, as he did not provide or speak word on the George Floyd murder.
As those who felt strongly about the murder spoke out, then started the Blue Lives Matter movement, where a group of mainly the Republican Party spoke out on how the police is an important aspect of our world, and how they are not wrong in how they react or reacted to the situation at hand.
The Blue Lives Matter movement created more controversy throughout the country. It felt more divided than ever. This caused tons of impact on the election.
On the other hand, the good that the police force does may be shown behind the scenes. They have provided tons of help and safety in the past, as situations and riots have occurred, not involving race. Many argue that one cop does not represent all. Not all cops are bad.
After President Biden was elected, Trump set out a tweet telling the Republican Party to back him up at the inauguration, saying that the voting was rigged or incorrect. This tweet led to a riot right outside of the Capitol building.
Tons of Republicans and Trump supporters rushed the building, breaking windows and damaging surrounding objects. The police force and security on site did everything they could to direct people and keep them away. Some were injured in the process, but were doing everything they could to protect the Capitol and President Biden.
This act of courageousness helped fix some of the thoughts the country has about the police force and security at this time.
It has been a road of debate and controversy for months now. So the question is, what do you think? Are the police acting with violence towards a certain race? Are they acting out of defense? Should the police be defunded or receive consequences for their actions? A question the country still has today.